Her name was Dominique. She started on a Monday, marketing department, 2 desks down from mine. New city, didn't know many people yet. The kind of warm and genuinely funny that makes someone immediately easy to like. We had lunch together on her first day because nobody else offered, and I remembered what it felt like to be new somewhere. Over sandwiches, she pulled out her phone to show me something, a restaurant recommendation I'd mentioned, and her lock screen was a photo of her and a man, laughing at the camera. Beach somewhere, golden hour light. I recognized his jawline before I recognized his face. Then I recognized his face. Then I set my sandwich down very carefully because my hands had started doing something I couldn't control and I needed to hold on to. His name was Wes. We'd been together for 2 years and 3 months. He was a project manager at a tech firm, 34 years old, medium height, dark hair, the kind of easy confidence that reads his warmth until you understand what's underneath it. We had a shared streaming password, a drawer at each other's apartments, and a standing Saturday morning routine involving a specific coffee shop and the crossword puzzle he always claimed he was better at than he actually was. He called me his person. That was his word, person. Not girlfriend, which he said felt reductive. His person, like something from a TV show, something that felt more significant in the usual vocabulary. I had loved that word when he first used it. I had told my best friend about it, slightly embarrassed by how much it meant to me. Dominique was showing me a restaurant recommendation, and her boyfriend was on her lock screen, and her boyfriend was Wes. I have a very particular skill, one I've never been proud of exactly, but one that has served me, of keeping my face still when my brain is on fire. I learned it in childhood, refined it in my 20s. It kicked in completely and automatically at that lunch table. I looked at the photo. I said, "Cute couple. How long have you been together?" She said, 7 months. She said they'd met through a mutual friend at a birthday party. She said he was thoughtful and attentive, and she'd never dated anyone who actually listened the way he did. I said, "That's really hard to find." She agreed that it was. We finished lunch and walked back to the office, and I sat at my desk for the rest of the afternoon and answered emails and attended a 3 p.m. meeting about Q4 deliverables and did not say a single word to anyone about what I now knew. Here's the thing about finding out the way I found out. There's no script for it. Every version of this scenario I'd ever seen, movies, conversations, other people's stories, involved a text message, a receipt, a gut feeling that built over time, something that gave you a moment to prepare, even just slightly, for the impact of knowing. I had no preparation. I went from not knowing to knowing in approximately 3 seconds over a turkey sandwich next to someone who had no idea she was handing me the information that would change everything. I didn't confront Wes that night. I needed to be certain, not because I doubted what I'd seen, but because I needed to be the kind of certain that doesn't leave room for gaslit explanations. I needed facts. I went home and I looked at Dominique's Instagram, which was public. She posted occasionally, not often, but enough. I scrolled back 7 months and I found a photo, just a location tag at a restaurant. No faces, but I knew that restaurant. Wes had taken me there for my birthday. Same restaurant, different woman, 1 month apart. I looked at his Instagram. I looked at the weekends he'd been visiting his college roommate in Portland, the timestamps on the stories he'd posted from those trips, the backgrounds of the photos. He had not been in Portland. I found 3 other things I won't detail here because they're still too specific and too raw, but I will say each one landed like a separate weight dropped from a separate height. By the end of that night, I had a complete picture. 7 months of a parallel relationship conducted at a careful but not particularly clever distance. He wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was just counting on the fact that Dominique and I would never be in the same room.
I slept on it for 2 days, not because I was unsure of what to do, but because I wanted to do it right. On Wednesday morning, I got to work early. I made 2 cups of coffee. When Dominique arrived, I put one on her desk. I sat down across from her and I said very quietly, "I need you to show you something, and I need you to know that I'm telling you because you deserve to know, not because I want anything from this conversation." She looked at me carefully. She said, "Okay." I showed her a photo of Wes and me, recent, taken 3 weeks ago before she started here, at that same coffee shop with the crossword puzzle. She stared at it for a long time. She said, "How long?" I said, 2 years and 3 months. The number hit her like something physical. I watched it land. She said, "He told me he'd been single for 2 years." I said, "I know." We sat there for a moment, 2 women at adjacent desks, drinking coffee that had gone slightly cold, in the specific silence of people who have just understood the same thing at the same time. Then she said, "Did you know before I started here?" I said, "No. Your lock screen, first day." She looked up at the ceiling, let out a breath that had been sitting in her chest for a while, I think. Then she said, "He called me his person." And that's the moment I did cry. Not for him, not even entirely for me, but because she said it so quietly, and because I understood exactly how much she'd meant it, and because we had both been handed the same beautiful word by the same man who had made it mean nothing. We both ended it with him the same day, separately, by choice. No coordination, just 2 people who had enough information to make a clear decision. He called me 6 times. He texted Dominique paragraphs she screenshotted and sent me, not for drama, but because she thought I should know what he was saying. He was sorry. He had a problem. He needed help. He'd explain everything. Neither of us responded. Dominique has been at the company for 4 months now. We have lunch together twice a week. She brings good snacks. I know her coffee order. Last week, we saw a film together and argued about it for an hour afterward in the parking lot. And at one point, I thought, this is the strangest, most accidental friendship I have ever stumbled into. Wes handed it to us, completely by accident. I don't think he's learned a single thing from this. That's not my problem anymore. What's mine is the drawer I emptied, the streaming password I changed, and the standing Saturday morning crossword routine, which I kept. I'm better at it than he ever was anyway.